Welcome to the Awaken Coach free training, a very quick 7-step cheat sheet to help your coaching go viral. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to give all of this good stuff away. Honestly, it's things that have been tucked inside my little noggin for a long time, things that I use on a daily basis, and it's fun to finally get to teach that to more coaches out there. First, let's break down the word viral really quickly. The way that I'm looking at a viral coaching business is full of clients that are retained, so they hang around. You're working with them longer than a month because 30 days is not a very long time to hold on to a client. It's not great for our bottom line. It's also not great for their results. And clients who refer new clients. So are you getting people who are talking about you and sending you people? That to me is what I would call a viral coaching business. How I discovered this was by doing it. Honestly, this is my process. I've been coaching for almost 10 years. I've worked with over 250 clients and I've sat in over 1,800 hours of coaching. It's a lot. So this is not my first go around. This is not my first rodeo. I know how this stuff works because I use it every single day. It's successful because it's simple. I really believe in coaching. Sometimes the most impactful thing we can do is also the most basic. And as coaches, I think we get sucked into a little bit of the businessy strategy world and we make it far harder than it needs to be. At its core, coaching is really quite simple. And I think when we return to those basics and do them very well and do them consistently, you can get so much further with less. Who has this helped? I have trained people in the International Coaching Federation, also known as the ICF. I've coached at the Integrative Wellness Academy, or the IWA. I also use this process with my own students in Awaken Your Life and Awaken Your Practice. And as a coach, I use this process every time I get on the phone with a client. Specifically, I want you to be thinking about new clients, taking on a new client from start to finish, which will take us in a moment right into the first step. But before we do that, you're going to get two things with every step, the benefit, but also the consequence. So a couple different ways to look at everything that I take you through. So that first step, getting a client, but not just getting any client. Start with a client you're not attached to. If this is new for you, if coaching is something you've only been doing for a short period of time, the best place to begin is with a client that you're not attached to. Where are you going to find them? Who are they? And why is this important? You're going to find them in your network, colleagues, community members, friends, fellow coaches, people you graduated with, as long as they're not someone you're in a relationship with or a family member. That's my only boundary. And you're going to ask them to be a part of this practice round. You're going to ask them to come and experience really good coaching to help your coaching business go viral. And in exchange, they get some awesome results. It's not a bad trade-off. So you're not going to be asking this particular client for money. This works because then neither of you have anything to lose. They're not committed and you're not going to let them down because, well, honestly, it's free. I don't promote free coaching. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should give away your coaching, but one of the ways that I helped my business grow was I coached a ton, obviously. And 1 year alone, I did over 100 consultations just to get the practice. And each one of those consults was 2 hours. So sometimes we just have to coach. That's the best place to be. And the consequence of not starting with a client you're not attached to is you're going to overthink your value, constantly questioning if maybe you should be doing more, offering more. And that's when we start to get away from the basics, which is what actually works. Step 2, you've got your client. Now you need to send them a questionnaire. This is my actual questionnaire. So feel free to pause here and write everything down that you see, because this is what I actually use with my clients today. They need to fill this out a couple days before your call so that you can prepare, which is part of setting the container. We're going to talk about that in a second. But this questionnaire also pre-frames the experience for your client. You're going to talk about things with them like money and dreams and what have you done and what haven't you done and fears and emotions. And by asking them about that up front, it tells them that this might be some of the areas and landscapes that you're going to explore with them. It also gets them thinking about possibly working with you. So copy this down. Why it works? Because you don't want to go in blind. And the consequence of going in blind is you're not prepared. It's really that simple. You don't want to spend your entire coaching conversation getting to know information that you could have had up front. So really simple. Make sure you send that off before they come and have a call with you. Okay, creating a container and getting prepped. A container is the space that you create energetically between you and your client, and you have to create it every single time you get on the phone, whether it's the first call or the 100th with the same client. That container has to get reestablished. I want you to care about the container because the container is actually where we create safety, trust, we have rapport with our clients, and it's a thing that gives them that sense of you can actually support them. How much prep? Two things go into my container. One, that questionnaire. That's part of my preparation. Two, I take the first 5 minutes to get some groundwork, asking them how their day is. It's really not that complicated. If they don't live where I live, how's the weather? I mean, it's silly, but these are icebreakers and they work for a reason. We're just going to start to find common ground. And then I explain to them how the session's going to go, especially it's the first time that they're going to talk to me, because that's how we set the framework. That's how we prepare them for what they're about to go through. And that preparation is what we get to create safety through, and safety creates trust. Why this works? Like I said, safety. The consequence, no rapport. And no rapport means they don't come back, they don't refer, and they do not stay as a client long term. Step 4, practice powerful questions. And there's also a question I really want you to avoid. Okay, these are 10 of the most powerful question openers. You got to fill in the rest because the question is really dependent on who you're talking to. But these are some of my favorite ones, and I would absolutely pause after we get through all 10, write them down, and just begin practicing, especially ones like imagine and but if you did know, or when did you first? I love this one, going forward sometime in the future. The next one, pretend you're in an alternate universe. That's always really playful. What is it you need to know? That's an easy one. It helps them remember that they have more resource inside of them. Okay, bonus. Avoid why questions at all cost. Because a why question prompts your client to quantify what they're doing. And they don't need to. They don't need to measure it for you. They're doing what they're doing because that's what they're doing. And we don't need to know why. Why this works, it gets to their core, which is what they're here to do. And the consequence of not getting to their core is random information and insight, which doesn't help you, and it also doesn't help them. Step 5 is going to be a little trickier for some of you, inviting your intuition to the table. So I understand that for not everyone is in a good relationship with their intuition. Even me as an intuitive, it took me years to trust it and then to even invite it into the conversation. So 2 tips to help you up front. The first is to listen to your intuition by tuning into the body. It'll usually show up there first. Heart palpitations, sweaty palms, gut check, something like hits you in the belly. That is what I would call an intuitive hit. The second thing is ask your client for permission. Again, part of the container. You can frame it and say, I'm getting this intuitive thing in my body. Can I share it really quickly? And then they can say yes or no. And if it's a yes, you share it. If it's a no, you don't. And just start practicing that. You're not going to know if you're not crazy. Sometimes it feels crazy because it's information that comes to us and we don't know where it comes from or why, and it may not even have been anything that they said. In fact, usually it's a nod. It's just something that comes up. But the more you engage with it, the more access and more wealth of information you're going to have because of your intuition. And it works because your intuition can do some of the heaviest lifting for you. And the consequence of not letting it in is you could ignore or sidestep really powerful information and aha moments. Okay, step 6 is really simple and maybe really obvious, but shut up. I love all of you. I do. I love my coaches. I love what you guys do in the world, but sometimes we talk way too much because listening is where coaching really gets going. And the consequence of not opening your ears and opening your mouth too much is what we call explanation kills exploration. Your clients do not need you to explain anything to them unless you're in a teaching moment, and there is space for that. But this is really about exploration, new frontiers, inner landscape, information, insight, and that comes from them, not you. And our last step, check in. Check in more than you think. If you get lost, which we all do in a coaching conversation because we think we're supposed to be one in the driver's seat, side note, you're not driving, your clients are. And if you come to a natural pause, you can always ask, where do you want to go from here? What else would you like to discuss today? Trust me, we all have plenty of topics within our head to pick from. We're just waiting for someone to ask. This keeps you connected and it keeps the conversation relevant to the client in that moment, which is the only thing that matters. And the consequence of not doing that is you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them in the conversation. You could lose them as a client. You're going to lose the referral, and you're going to lose keeping them long term. It's a lot of loss. Not necessary. Just check in. It's not that complicated. Okay, here's a business bonus tip, what I call the two-part sale, which I do. And I have used this to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching programs because I do not believe that selling is the first priority the first time you talk to somebody. How this works is you do not sell in the first conversation. You sell in the second, and you tell them. You say, today is all about coaching. If we resonate and we want to continue this work together, we're going to schedule a follow-up date to come in and talk about the actual relationship of coaching, what it costs, how long we work together, our expectations, all of that good stuff. Today, it's just about you experiencing my work. In fact, here's my script. You can take it and use it. Copy this down, put it in your journal, put it on your computer, say it verbatim if you have to. Now, this is important. This goes at the beginning. This is part of your container setting. It goes right at the beginning. You say to them, the first time you talk to them, here's how I work. This is what we can expect to have happen today, and we may or may not end up working together. But if we do, we're going to talk about that at another time. Why does this work? Because it takes the pressure off of you both. You don't have to go into salesmanship mode. No one likes it, and they don't have to be sold to. Also, no one likes it. And the consequence, you're going to be overcoming objections in your own head and in theirs. And trust me, the moment you tip into overcoming objections, you may as well be on either side of a sales table. No one's going to come out happy. One of you is going to lose, and the actual work of coaching is gone. You just lost all your rapport, which you spent the last hour building with them. Okay, that was a lot, and we went through that really fast. So do not be afraid to go back to the beginning and watch it all over again. In 2 days, I'm going to send you a couple more things. I'm going to send you my 5 myths for growing a successful coaching business, all the things I had to work against to figure out the hard way, how to grow a 6-figure business. But I'm not going to teach you how to grow a 6-figure business. I'm going to teach you how to build a business that's meaningful and impactful for you. And that may or may not be 6 figures. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to you. But I believe that when you are a great coach and you practice good fundamental coaching, the money is inevitable. Clients will come, but you have to start where you are. If you have questions, email me. Seriously, here's my email. I would love to hear from you. I love working with coaches. I think we could do some awesome work in the world. So shoot me an email if you have anything that I didn't cover in today. And go make your business viral. Go coach. That's what you're great at. Take care.